I've been in the danger zone.
Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to episode 19 of the Danger Zone podcast. Of course, I am your host, Daniel Kelly, and I'm joined by Mr. Ryan Palmer.
Hello.
And occasional minion, Wayne Diggins.
Hello.
Now, Wayne is here this week because sadly Ipswich Dan cannot be with us. He's currently in hospital receiving treatment for a prolapsed anus.
Raw shit, 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 raw shit. Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's raw shit, Ryan Palmer's raw shit. This week's Raw certainly didn't live up to our segment's name, as this was a very good episode indeed, I thought, anyway. Apart from the odd pointless match, the show was mostly enjoyable to watch and not really a chore to get through. And I don't say that about every 3-hour Raw, so quite an achievement. We'll start off with the opening segment of Raw, which was John Cena coming to the ring for a promo. He addresses the Ryback situation with him putting him through the wall, or what the hell it was, at Extreme Rules, and he announced that their rematch will be at Payback will be a 3 stages of Hell match. The first 4 will be a lumberjack match, second a tables match, and the third will be the ambulance match. I did say ambulance very weird there. I apologise for that. Yeah, this doesn't sound too good to me. It's got to be. This is what was this going to be the 4th 3 stages of Hell, and
Yeah.
Like with the participants and the stipulations, it's going to do well not to be the worst by a large margin. Like a lumberjack match. It's for the first one, just sounds ridiculous. And then table match, that's like easy for someone to take a loss without them really, hurting their credibility. Then an ambulance match is bad enough, and that's the deciding thing. I couldn't be looking forward to this match less, I don't think. And it'll be 3 falls, so this is going to make it really long. They're not going to get away with just doing 20 minutes. This has got to go, 30 to 40 minutes at least, really, for them to get 3 falls in. This doesn't sound too good. Thoughts?
I think you've summed it up quite nicely. I think an ambulance match would have been bearable because it's shorter, like you say, but a 30 to 40 minute Cena versus Ryback match certainly doesn't appeal to me, and I doubt it appeals to many people either, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like with a lot of 2 out of 3 falls matches recently, WWE have, like the last one they did was probably, like on a pay-per-view, was probably, I remember, is Bryan Sheamus at Extreme Rules 2012. And I remember what they did, the first fall was Bryan intentionally getting disqualified, and then he easily made Sheamus pass out in the yes lock then. So it's interesting that they do something like that with a disqualification, like maybe in the lumberjack, but I don't know. Maybe it'll just be someone interferes, like the lumberjacks interfere somehow, cost Cena, because my thinking is possibly that Cena is going to lose the first fall. No, Cena.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Cena will lose the first fall, then come back and win the last 2.
Yeah, and then if Ryback goes through a table in the second one, his only loss kind of will be, not too. Oh no, well then that limits him looking too bad in one of the falls at least.
Yeah,
so
and with Cena losing the first one, it'll play into the big. Yeah. Oh, how can he possibly do this?
Yeah. To be honest, I might even be surprised. I might not even be surprised if he beats Cena clean in the first fall, pretty clean, and then that kind of maybe they'll have another rematch or something in the next pay-per-view or something like that. That'll necessitate that maybe. But yeah, I'm not sure because
I'm looking forward to the awkwardness of 20 lumberjacks just walking to the back after the first 4.
Yeah, that would be pretty weird. So this segment had Ryback come out, and he, just says what he usually does. Yeah, called himself the devil, Lucifer, Beelzebub. So that was nice, and then he just left, which is fair enough. He just buggered off. So there you go. Wasn't really very memorable. Then Heyman come out and introduced Curtis Axel again.
He did.
Heyman wanted Cena to have a match with. Oh, that's my notes. Apologise for this. My notes are shit. I put Heyman wants Cena to have a match with Cena tonight. I'd like to have seen that. Heyman wanted Axel to have a match with Cena tonight or that night.
Imagine the spot calling.
And then Cena agrees to it, and that match is made for later, and we'll go straight to that. And Curtis Axel beat John Cena by countout in a result I don't think anyone is surprised about. At least he got his hand raised at the end of this one, not like last week where he got whisked to the back and you never saw him again after Triple H had his little fit on the ground. So yeah, this was not a bad match for what it was, really. Thought it was okay. Certainly got lively at the end, like when Axel hit the perfect plex. That was pretty. Fans were reacting to that. That was pretty impressive. A shame that's not his finisher in like the McGilla cutter.
I was going to say that. I think they've made a mistake using the perfect plex as a throwaway move.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
If he has if they give him a better finisher, then it's not so bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the McGilla cutter is just not a good move. I mean, it's not a right move, but it's not a finisher. I'll put it that way. So yeah, the end of this match was an ambulance arrived at ringside, which Cena assumed was Ryback driving it. So he wandered out the ring and went to inspect. There's just an ambulance. I mean, it's like Ryback turned up with a gun or something and he had to leave, it seemed like. But so Cena, forgot he was in a match, we assume, and he wanders over to it to inspect it. And then Ryback isn't in it, and no one is in it somehow. So this ambulance came out by itself. How that happened, I'm not sure. And then Ryback jumped in from behind, and that was the end. And then they brawled a little bit. Cena come back in it, and then Ryback ran off. Yeah, this was, I don't know, weird.
Can I just say that when the ambulance first came out, I did for 2 or 3 seconds think Scott Steiner.
yeah, I did think that myself. His music running there.
I wasn't a fan of the way Axel was handled on Raw. I must be honest. I stuck up for last week's ending, but in reality, he's beaten Triple H and Cena, but he hasn't beaten them. Do you know what I mean? They've both been pretty contentious decisions.
Yeah.
I think Cole summed it up when he said we all forgot about Curtis Axel. With the way he was booked, he was sort of an afterthought. Even Cena treated him with such contempt that, who cares about him in the ring? We'll go for Ryback.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had him anywhere near Cena, I don't think. I think unless he was in a position to beat him properly, obviously, which he isn't and he never will be.
No.
But I'd have had him crush a lesser person, maybe like, a jobber, just like Zack Ryder, and then build him up slowly and maybe have him and Heyman have a little promo afterwards.
Yeah. Well, obviously he weren't going to beat like Triple H and Cena and guys like that. So it's just, this hasn't been exactly really good television, like what he has been involved with, excuse me. But it's a wonder, will this do him any good? I mean, it's not going to do him any harm, I guess. He's worked with some guys, like some top guys. Well, oh yeah, top guys, I guess. But yeah, it's like, would he have done better to start with guys like Zack Ryder and guys like that,
I
and just
think
beating them?
the way they're pushing him straight off the bat is similar to how they tried to do it with Tensai last year. You know, he pinned CM Punk and John Cena within a month of his debut or whatever it was, and as much as a push he got, he didn't get over whatsoever. And I think they've got to be very careful not to do that with Axel. I think building him up the way, in a very different way, obviously, but with similarities. I think the way they built Ryback up, maybe with, obviously switched the face and heel, around, but I think a slow build would be a lot better than throwing him straight in with two main event guys who he's never going to beat. I can't see how it really helps him in the long run. He's got victories over them, but he hasn't got victories over them.
No.
Jim Ross has beaten Triple H.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it can't do him any harm.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you're right. So, he had his arm raised and he didn't do a clean job to Cena. Yeah. So
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be, he beat Cena by count out. This is a guy we've got to pay attention to, kind of thing. Exactly. But I suppose it's good for him to at least start with these guys. Have you got any thoughts on Curtis Axel, Wayne?
I still think of him as Michael McGillicuddy.
Yeah,
it's the problem with a lot of people at the minute.
Yeah, I don't get why they didn't change his appearance a little bit or make it something different coming down. And just seems to be nothing.
It's a good point because he's, they've changed his name, but he's got exactly the same gear on that he used to wear. He's even got the same beard he used to have. Yeah.
He could have just shaved his beard and done something with his hair, made himself look a little bit different. Then at least some people will still look at him and go, "Oh, this is a different character."
He should have come out dressed as the Boogeyman or something.
Yeah, that'd have been interesting. Yeah, but yes, So I mean, I don't know. He's good in the ring. He's all right like that. But I don't know. It's just his character, I guess, is something we've got to see. He doesn't interest me really.
No.
And if you're struggling to be interesting as a heel, you've got to worry about someone really, because I mean that's the easiest way to, all the heels are interesting really, a lot of them. I mean even Ryback is slightly more interesting as a heel than he was a babyface. He's not very interesting at all as a heel, but to me anyway. But I mean McGillicuddy's just pretty bland as a heel, which is very worrying. For like his character and things like that, but we'll see. Maybe that can come. Yeah, I think we all.
Do you think they picked the wrong guy?
Oh, no! You say that. That could be a debate for next week, Wayne, because we will have a hashtag next week of who you would have as the third Paul Heyman guy. So we'll get into that a little bit next week.
I'll certainly put it this way: I wouldn't have chosen Curtis Axel. I forgot he existed, to be honest, Michael McGillicuddy. So
I'm not against it, but he wouldn't have been my man.
Yeah, we'll gotta give him a chance. I mean,
exactly.
There's worse. There's a lot worse people I'd rather have this push than him, which we'll get to later, like Big E, and people like that. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm not optimistic really. Which we'll see. Yeah. Okay, moving on. We had another excellent segment. I mean, the others weren't excellent, but this was excellent with Paul Heyman. This was the highlight reel, Chris Jericho's talk show, and his guest was Paul Heyman. I thought this was fabulous. Jericho wanted to know where CM Punk is and why he left. He goes on to claim that Punk can no longer call himself the best in the world and wants to face him at Payback in Chicago. Heyman, after avoiding the issue, finally accepts on Punk's behalf. So CM Punk is back at Payback. It seems, anyway. Seems weird that, when this happened, my mind kind of thought, could Punk refuse? And at the pay-per-view, he just doesn't turn up, and it's kind of made the point that Heyman isn't really talking to him, or they're not, or he isn't listening to him and doesn't want to do what like Heyman wants, and maybe this will lead to a split, but it doesn't seem to be that that's what's going to happen. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. I never thought of that, but yeah, like you say, it sounds an interesting proposition.
I don't think they're going to do that in Chicago though. Like announce CM Punk to turn up for a match and he doesn't. So yeah, that's it's disappointing because Punk is definitely missed on the show. That goes without saying. But I wish they'd have kept him off till like Harry's return at SummerSlam, because I think it'd mean so much more. When he comes back for Payback, it's not gonna seem fresh to me that he's back already. I want to get to the point where I'm like, God, I need to see Punk back, kind of thing, and I'm not there. And he's still going to come back, and I'm still going to be thinking, well, this is the guy who he had his big championship reign, but then got pretty decisively beat twice by The Rock, and then lost to Undertaker, and I want to have forgotten about that, and then him come back at SummerSlam, something interesting. Match with Jericho, which hopefully will be good. It's not. I'm not massively excited for it as I would be if it was happening at SummerSlam. It's just disappointing that they're rushing this back. I mean, obviously they're keeping him. They're not bringing him back sooner, as soon as they did when he won the WWE Championship and then buggered off at Money in the Bank 2011. But still not long enough. I mean, it's going to be like 8 weeks, 2 months when he comes back, so that's not really long enough for me. And it's a shame because they could have done something really interesting, maybe.
I don't think they're going to bring him back.
No?
Do you think they're going to Ryan's theory?
No, I think they're going to. Heyman will say, "Oh, he's not coming back" or something next week, and then they'll have Curtis Axel in the match.
Yeah, that crossed my mind as well. But I did. That'd be a way to, I suppose, get Axel over. He'd have a good match with Jericho, probably. Yeah. But we did say that about Fandango at WrestleMania, and he didn't have a good match with Jericho. But, I think with the theory that Punk's coming back too soon, I can see where you're coming from, but I tend to disagree. I think Raw's been desperate at times, and he'll make it a lot more bearable than what it has been.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
I think there's a lot of possibilities of where they'll go and what they'll do with him, because he's had just long enough off to be able to play into I didn't know where I was down, I think the break was needed because it lost his star aura that he'd been smashed by The Rock. I know he was competitive against Taker, but it was definitely a little bit stale for me. In probably the last sort of 6 months, I think he's needed a break. He's still needing the break that he needed when he left the first time round.
Yeah.
But I think it could work out well. I think the time of the break is decent, but I think it shows that WWE know that there's a problem on Raw and in general with the product when they're calling him back months before he wants to be back. They've faced up to the problem and admitted that there's a problem and they need him.
Yeah. I mean, we say about like Raw being a lot poorer without him, but I mean, look at tonight's episode and that was pretty damn good.
But one of the main angles was based around him coming back. So
I guess, but it was Heyman and Jericho. I think they would have made that work without.
Oh yeah, definitely. A little touch on the segment. I thought the segment was brilliant. I think Heyman is stunning, and I'm struggling to think of a segment that he's been in since he's been back where it hasn't been any less than good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he just thank God they brought him back because he's certainly on the mic. He's been the standout guy in WWE.
I know you said last week Jericho needs to stop with the childish remarks. What did you make of his little promo this week? Because he did say a few things that were
there's a little bit
raising.
Like he was just going blah 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 blah, and I was like, come on, Jericho. But I mean, otherwise it was fine. I mean,
I agree. Of that. He needs to stop dressing like he's just come from a gay pride march or something. He looks absolutely ridiculous, Jericho.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not great, but yeah, that great segment again, and I just think I know exactly. I mean, I know what you're saying about it is fine to bring him back now, but I think it would just mean so much more if they held it off a little longer. It's like more WWE trying to fix a solution like with a short-term answer kind of thing, whereas they could have left it longer and I think it'd be a lot bigger if he came back at SummerSlam. People would be like, God, we just need him back. And I think that would have been better. It's like interesting. Exactly, is he just going to come back and just go from there? I mean, it feels like they're promoting someone's return. There's got to be something happening. He's just not going to have a match with Jericho and he beats Jericho and that's it. That seems a bit not enough to me.
I'd be very surprised if they're going to go forwards with him as a heel if he's having his comeback in Chicago.
Yeah.
I can't see how they would have booked his comeback in Chicago if he was going to be a heel for long, because he's going to get the biggest ovation in the night.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But ever since we've been talking about it, I do like your theory that they'll troll us with Punk not turning up.
That would be good. I would definitely be with that. And then because there was like rumours that they might have a Punk Lesnar program at some point. I don't think they said SummerSlam, but like maybe Survivor Series time or just before Hell in a Cell. They might have a program between them two then, which would be interesting. But
it would be, but I've said previously that I wouldn't like to see that because of the size difference.
Yeah, it's like, even though Punk, I mean, he's not like massively small. I mean, but I have a harder time believing Punk could beat up someone like than say Daniel Bryan or something like that, because Bryan has like the legitimate like abilities really. That I mean, he does like MMA training and things like that, whereas Punk, he doesn't really look hard or particularly like a shoot fighter or something like that, where I would more believably feel it was easier to believe that Bryan could beat Lesnar than Punk. I mean, not that I believe either of them could, but I'd feel Bryan would have the better chance against him than Punk.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree.
But I mean, that's not a massive example. But I mean, like just Lesnar Punk, it's just you look at him and it's kind of
Lesnar would eat him alive.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, but in WWE, I think that's fine. That'd be interesting. That'd be a match I'd be excited for, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's just what happens, because I can't think they're just going to have CM Punk come back, and even if it is just as a babyface or a heel or whatever, if there's no angle behind it, I'd be surprised. Like Heyman turning on him, or I don't know, or just something, or the seeds of something at least. It just seems weird he'll just come back, and I don't know. We'll see. I expect
especially
something.
in Chicago. I think
yeah,
the way they could. There's plenty of ways they could go, whatever way they wanted him to go. Whether they want to keep him as a heel or a face, there's a lot of ways they can get around it. Being in Chicago,
yeah.
But interesting with the Heyman turning on him theory. You know, they could play into that he supported him through the title run, and he's let him down by being a failure in the last 6 months. He got him the biggest match at WrestleMania that he could want, and he lost that as well. So
yeah,
it's a natural storyline.
Yeah. Definitely. Maybe a program with Axel and Punk before Lesnar and Punk or something like that. Could certainly do that. Or even that there's like a rivalry between like Punk and Axel now or something like that before it happens or something. Lots of ways they could do stuff. Okay, let's move on to The Shield, who are in action. First up, we had Dean Ambrose retain the US title against Kofi Kingston. This was pretty decisive victory. Ambrose took him at the end. Ambrose took him outside the ring, and he kind of tripped him up on the apron, and leading Kofi to fall head first on the ring steps. He just rolled him back in the ring and hit him with his headlock driver for the win, which was surprising that it ended like that. That was like Kofi didn't really have like a comeback or anything like that, which was surprising. But
yeah, it's definitely the end of Kofi and Ambrose.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he's injured now, but
yeah,
it would have been anyway. I think that match was pretty obvious.
Yeah, good, fine match though. It was.
Perfectly acceptable match. It was probably on par with their pay-per-view effort, I would say.
Maybe even a little. If it had a good proper, end sequence, that would probably been better. To be honest, it had a little bit more time, I think. So that was good. But yeah, next up we had. Rollins and Reigns retained the tag team titles against Team Hell No. This was a stunning match, I thought. The ending saw Kane trying to get Bryan back in their corner, but Bryan wouldn't, and it cost them when he went for a flying knee strike off the apron to Reigns, but Reigns speared him out of midair. And then this let Rollins hit a springboard knee on Kane, and they got him the win. Just great stuff here. Like Bryan was still playing up to not wanting to be the weak link and being really intense and things like that. It was just great stuff again. Loved it. Like before, this was, as a pure tag team match, this was like one of the best again on Raw we've seen for God knows how long. Just absolutely brilliant. It's amazing that they allowed God knows how many. This is 20 minutes maybe. They
18 hour rest. I would say it went past 20 minutes. Did they have 2 breaks?
Possibly, because I think they had a break and the match was already in progress because Bryan and Kane come out. So, but I mean, probably down 20 minutes. If they had this on the pay-per-view, this would have been stunning. And they only get 5 minutes on pay-per-view, and they get this on Raw. It's these are the matches. I'm not complaining about being on free TV, but these are the matches they should be having on pay-per-view, I guess. But
there's a case that Shield and Hell No should have been feuding for Mania, really, because I think Hell No were wasted in the Ziggler and Big E feud because no one got anything out of that. And I think the Shield were not wasted, but they weren't utilised as best they could be in the Sheamus, Orton and Big Show match because they still would have been the force that they are without that ever happening. I think if this match would have been the match going into Mania, I think this could have been the match that we saw at Mania. But anyway, that's a long way in the past. But shout out to Bryan's offense. It was absolutely stunning, intense.
Yeah, got the elbows, his elbow strikes from
vicious. I got the old hairs on the back of my neck, like you said.
Yeah.
I ridiculed you, but it was unbelievable to see. I think it's brilliant that they're letting it shine through.
Yeah, definitely the old hairs.
Because everybody that knows him knew that he was capable of this, and they're finally letting us see it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It just makes me excited. Like I'm constantly, oh yes, it's Raw tonight, and see what Bryan's doing, see what they're going to do with him. Like SmackDown as well. Like I'm just excited for that. So yeah, it's just great.
It's comfortably the second top babyface in a minute.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and that's really they're only now doing something with him. But I mean, hopefully they have realised they've got something here, and that is the start of a big push. Very interested to see where this is going. Do
you think he'll go on to face Ambrose at all?
No.
I think he'll move away from the Shield now.
Yeah, hopefully. Although they continue it on SmackDown.
They do. Yeah, you're right.
So.
We'll see then. I'd love to see the match. I think a lot of people would love to see the match. Yeah,
that would be very good. But I think, I don't know if they will, just because I don't think a loss to Ambrose in a singles match is, the right storyline progression for Bryan at the moment.
I do agree.
So I would be surprised. But I think I hope, and I think they'd be crazy not to be putting him in world title and WWE title matches going forward. I hope that's what they're going to do anyway.
I think if they held off for the Ambrose match, what a spectacle and what a mouth-watering sort of build they could have if Ambrose eventually becomes a top guy and Bryan is a top face. What a headline match that could be.
Yeah, I'd like to see Bryan get the world title at some time, and then down the line, a few months maybe SummerSlam, have a match with Ziggler. That'd be perfect for me. And then he'd go on to then feud with the Shield over the world title. Again, that's fantasy booking again, but I think that would be really interesting.
Somebody needs to bring the world title back to a top line title, don't they?
Yeah.
Bryan would be the perfect fit for that if they give him a lengthy run.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be really interesting. Cool. Well, that's certainly something to look forward to. Something else to look forward to.
Dan does the news. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. As well as that, we had a fantastic Bray Wyatt and the family vignette on Raw, and I think anyone who has been watching the form of Husky Harris in NXT is just absolutely loving his character, and can't wait for him to debut. I suppose they're going to keep running these vignettes for a little bit, might get him as soon as the Raw after Payback, but you think they'll be running these for a little bit. But yeah, just so excited for this. He's been ready for a long time, and yeah, be very good.
I've not seen too much of his work, but from the little I have seen and what I understand, he's a very talented guy, and he's got a lot better in the ring than what he used to be.
Yeah.
But especially on the mic, I think he's he could be one of the top players once he debuts.
Yeah, I think that this is all about his character. I mean, he's pretty good in the ring. I mean, not on the level of like Bryan or even like Ambrose or something. Yeah, exactly. But for someone who's like through the WWE system, he's good. But I mean, when you've got like a character like that, it's not as important because this is all about his character, and I mean,
yeah, definitely.
And it's just so good. I mean, just brilliant promos that just kind of get under your skin, and it's just it's gonna be interesting to see how people react to him because like on NXT, people kind of generally like him, but they're always quite a good audience at NXT. They're quite smart. And they're all like swaying to his music and stuff like that in the crowd, which is quite funny. They've all got their hands in the air and kind of like swaying from side to side, which is like brilliant. But yeah, I think because there's a lot more casual fans in like the big WWE audiences, I think he'll get like really good heat. And yeah, I see this being a massive success, and I just can't wait to see it because he's just very, very talented. The promos, He is on the same level as the best promo guys here. Within this character, they're like as good as you're gonna get anywhere.
Makes you wonder how they wasted him as Husky Harris. He didn't utter a word for for a year.
Yeah.
What a waste that was at the time.
This is I remember there was one character in WWF, or it might have been WWE at the time. No, it must have been WWF. I can't remember what his name was, but this kind of character is kind of like what was the name? It's like someone Robert De Niro's character in film Cape Fear. It's kind of similar to that, but this like Bray Wyatt's is kind of a bit more of a cult kind of guy and like cult like leader. But it's like similarities to it, and that's.
I'm trying to help you out with the name, but I can't think of who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember reading an article in FSM, I'm gonna say, and they was it Power Slam? Oh, I remember it was the WrestleCrap guy. He talked about him in a column. This character, that doesn't matter.
We're rambling.
Yeah.
Just a quick point on the family that are coming in. I think someone with a lot of potential is Brody Lee, who's the big bearded guy. What's his WWE name? I'm not that familiar with him.
Oh, shit, I should know.
Is it Harper?
No, Luke Harper, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's a very talented big man. I mean, if you haven't seen his work in Dragon Gate USA, that is, you should definitely have a look into it because he's one of the better big men in the business at the moment.
Yeah. And even like his character in NXT for this, he like has these crazed kind of expressions on his face, and he's like amazing with his like character work in NXT. In the vignette, it didn't like come across. He just talked normally, and so I don't know if he'll carry on that, but it was like brilliant. It was like really disturbing, like the looks he was, his facials in NXT. So I think he'll do well. Yeah, Eric Rowan is I haven't been that impressed with him, but I mean he's got the look that can go with it. I mean you can't.
He's very green from what I've read.
Yeah, you can't put Pac in there. There's the like uppercut.
They could utilise him as like sort of the Roman Reigns of the trio, though. If he wrestles in tag matches and he's used the brute force,
I mean,
it'll be perfectly acceptable at that.
It's certainly not going to sink this group, so I'm sure it'll be fine. You've got two talented guys there, and then one who he'll do his job, I'm sure. But so
very exciting stuff.
Yeah, can't wait for this. Okay, moving on. Kind of round up of other stuff. We had Randy Orton and Sheamus beat Team Road Scholars in another good match, I thought. Enjoyable stuff. This was just before the main event, so I mean, to hold my interest already about half hours in was pretty impressive. Really, I was surprised I didn't get the urge to skip that. Something I'd have loved to have skipped was Fandango beating Wade Barrett. Miz was the guest referee.
Just a
And
quick point on the Miz as the guest referee. I'd love to know who they think was sitting at home thinking, I'd quite like to see the Miz be the guest ring announcer. I mean, what the hell's that all about?
Yeah.
Just making the referee in the first place. Stop with the stupid votes. This makes you wonder if it's just purely to give the stupid fans a chance to think that what they're seeing is what they want to see.
Yeah, it is pathetic. It's just, yeah, it's very stupid, just the options on the show. Adds nothing anymore. It's because they think they were so worried about. They wanted. I can't remember who ran. They had a vote, and it was like Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and someone else to face someone. And WWE assumed that Randy Orton was going to win, and then Jericho won it. And they don't want anything like that to happen again, I think.
Just get rid of the vote then.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. If you've got like people, all good people who people are going to vote for, it could be any of them really. So if you're not willing to risk it, don't bother.
It reminds me of like the votes on when you see like a competition on a telly show. You've got
who was the main singer in who was the main singer in Rolling Stones, and you got like Mick Jagger, Phil Tufnell, and an apple or something like that. It's stupid. But anyway, Miz was a massive twat here as usual. And what a bastard! Can't stand him. Just how anyone can cheer him, I do not know. This guy is just so unlikable. I mean, Jesus Christ. It makes me angry. It makes me very angry.
Scary to think he was in the main event of WrestleMania a few years ago.
Oh, God. Yeah, that is terrible. I wish he'd leave. I hope he gets a successful movie career, so he'll fuck off.
Would you like him if he turned heel?
I didn't like him as a heel. He's just shit.
He's quite good on commentary.
No, fuck that. I want to hear Daniel Bryan talking about bears. That's what I want on commentary. I don't want fucking Miz being a prick.
You've got to check that out. Saturday Morning Slam. Ryan himself put me onto that. Brian was on commentary for a match, and he kept relating everything to bears. And it's one of the funniest things I've seen on WWE TV for a long while.
You will barely believe how good it is.
I see what he did there.
Yeah, it's good.
Just pop it in YouTube, Daniel Bryan bears, and you won't regret it.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan on bears, I think is what the thing is called. And got to see it. If just you need to get it in your life. So I can't remember what I said about Miz.
You said he was a bastard.
Oh, that's right. He ended up, after being a shit ref and, getting in the way, and Barrett, rightly, was annoyed at him. So then the Miz decided to give him a skull-crushing finale, because that's the kind of twat he is. And then he kicked Fandango after the match, and Summer Rae, fell on his knob or something. And then he countered that as a pinfall.
Now she's pregnant.
And then he went off with that fucking disgraceful grin on his face. And just fire that guy. Hate him. Then we also have Del Rio beating Big E, who got another win back on Big E from he also beat him on last week's main event, and here he got a win on him again after Big E had beat him on last week's Raw. Del Rio was able to roll him up after Big E hit the unexposed turnbuckle, which AJ removed in a plan that backfired. After the match, AJ was kind of having a go at Big E, so that rumoured Big E face turn that no one wants to see looks like it's possibly going to happen down the line. That's the end of that. Unless you've got anything else to say, guys, that is the end.
How was his face run in NXT? Was he like then or not?
He He was pretty over, wasn't he?
Well, a little bit,
I think the 5 count business got him over quite quickly.
Don't understand why.
I've got to be honest, but he was quite light.
Yeah, I guess he was.
You can see potential in him as a face because he's a big bastard, basically. that's the thing he's got going for him. But I'm not ashamed to say I skipped that match.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And on that note,
Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, this is Ryan Palmer's Raw shit, Ryan Palmer's Raw shit.
Okay, good stuff. Now, of course, with Ipswich Dan's medical problems, he will not be here to do the news. So instead, normal Dan does some news.
Dan does some news. Dan does some news. Dan does some news. It's time to hear from Dan.
Cheers for that. That's definitely the first time I've ever been called normal. I'm taking over news responsibilities this week whilst our fallen brethren recovers from his undercarriage dilemma. And we begin with the news that WWE have reportedly signed lucha star Samurai Del Sol to a developmental deal. Resistance Pro Wrestling announced on their Twitter this week that Del Sol had signed with WWE. Evolve Wrestling also announced that Sol would be wrestling for the promotion in the coming months. So Del Sol won't be heading to developmental for a few months yet. And in some more signee news, we did talk about it last week, and now it's been confirmed that Sami Callihan has officially signed a developmental contract with WWE. It's been widely reported that he's been going through the company's pre-screening process. Any thoughts on them two?
Yeah, great news. Both talented guys. I was only watching El Generico versus Samurai Del Sol a couple of days ago from Evolve. So yeah, they'll do great. We saw him
wrestle at WrestleCon, didn't we? Samurai Del Sol.
Did we?
Pretty sure he's on the Dragon Gate show.
I'm struggling to remember that card.
It's got a mask with like a tail on, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did see him, definitely.
All right. What match was he in then?
He
was in the ladder one, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was in.
And he got eliminated pretty early, and we were like, "What the hell?"
Hear this?
Yeah.
WWE has released preliminary buy rate for WrestleMania 29. The estimate is that the pay-per-view did 1. No, they didn't. There you go. That's the amateur newsreader for you. They did 1,048,000 buys. While an estimate, this is short of the 1.21 million buys that it did last year. However, it's the third straight year that buys exceeded 1 million, as WrestleMania 27 did 1,059,000 buys. The final number will be released when the company reports its second quarter earnings in August. You may have noticed that during the Cena and Axel match on Raw, that the entire crowd stopped watching the match and the camera zoomed in on the ring. This was because there was an all-out fight in the lower floor area. A man, who eyewitnesses claimed were drunk, was seen throwing a punch, and very quickly a larger tussle broke out and it got quite violent. And just as we were going on air tonight, it was reported that Kofi Kingston will be out of action for 4 to 8 weeks. WWE.com posted an article attributing Ryback's beatdown of Kingston at the SmackDown tapings as the reason for his absence. And finally this week, Hulk Hogan noted on his Twitter account that a radiator exploded on his boat and burned his left hand. He received treatment at a Tampa hospital, but not before tweeting some pretty graphic images. The source was quoted as saying, as it was the most horrific gash posted online since photo of Brooks effaced.
Damn the news. Damn the news. Damn the news. It's time to say bye-bye to damn.
You just said surface as well.
Did I?
You said surface.
I'm an amateur newsreader, mate. You can do it next time, all right? That's some pressure on me to do that. That was, you got to have years of experience to do shit like that. And I did it at about 10 minutes' notice. But anyway, that'll do us this week. Thank you for joining us once again. We really do appreciate your support and would be thrilled if you could recommend us to anybody that you think would enjoy what we do. As always, keep an eye out on our Twitter, which is @DZ Podcast, where throughout the week we'll be bringing you some explosive and very controversial live tweeting by Mr. Palmer of the week's wrestling shows as they air in the UK. Subscribe to us on YouTube and most importantly iTunes by searching for the Danger Zone Wrestling Podcast. And if you're a recent Danger Zone convert, you can find all our old episodes on both of those platforms, so go back and listen to our earlier shows.
I've been in the danger zone.
How did he get a Furby up there anyway?